Bukayo Saka collapsed on the training pitch in Dallas after a physical confrontation with Harry Kane turned an England World Cup camp into a full-blown crisis. It wasn't just a heated exchange. It wasn't a misunderstanding caught on camera. It wasn't the tabloids spinning nothing into something. This is serious. Nothing like this has ever been seen 6 days before a World Cup opener. And there's a detail the FA still hasn't confirmed publicly. Sources close to the England camp say security footage captured the entire incident, and the governing body is now deciding whether to release it or bury it to protect both players. And the worst hasn't even come to light yet. Over the next few minutes, you'll understand exactly what happened, how it escalated from a tactical drill to a medical emergency, and why this changes everything for England at the World Cup. Because when something like this happens less than a week before your first match, it's not just about two players losing their temper. It's about a fractured dressing room, a manager under impossible pressure, and a squad that's supposed to be chasing glory but is now fighting itself. And the behind the scenes of this is worse than it looks. But to understand why this exploded the way it did, you need to know what was building underneath. Because this didn't come out of nowhere. It all started on Tuesday afternoon at the University of Dallas training complex. The squad was running a pressing drill, standard preparation, high intensity. Harry Kane was positioned centrally, Bukayo Saka wide right. The temperature was pushing into the low 90s. According to witnesses, Kane shouted something at Saka from about 20 yards away. Something about tracking back, about defensive work rate. Saka stopped, turned, shouted back. That's when it shifted. Harry Kane jogged over. The two were face to face within seconds. Kane's hands went up in that universal gesture. "What's your problem?" Saka pushed his arm away. And then, according to sources close to the squad, Harry Kane grabbed the front of Bukayo Saka's training bib with both hands. Declan Rice sprinted in from the left. Jordan Pickford came from the opposite side. They pulled the two apart. Thomas Tuchel blew his whistle 3 times, sharp, furious. The session froze. Saka walked away, hands on his hips, breathing hard. Tuchel ordered the drill to restart. 30 seconds later, Bukayo Saka dropped to one knee. Then forward onto his hands. Jordan Henderson knelt beside him. Saka's eyes rolled back. Silence. Complete silence. And then the medical team sprinted across the pitch while Thomas Tuchel stood frozen on the touchline, arms crossed, face pale. This is serious. But here's the thing. This tension didn't start on that training pitch. It had been simmering for weeks. Strong rumors point to Bukayo Saka voicing concerns in private about his minutes during the pre-tournament friendlies. He played the full 90 in both warm-up matches despite carrying a minor ankle problem from the end of Arsenal's season. And Harry Kane, as captain, allegedly saw that as a lack of hunger. What's being said behind the scenes is that Kane had been making pointed remarks in team meetings. Remarks about players needing to prove they want it, about commitment to the collective. And those close to Saka's camp say he felt targeted. That the captain was scapegoating him to assert dominance after rumors that Tuchel was considering tactical tweaks that would reduce Harry Kane's central role. On one side, you've got the old guard. Harry Kane has more than 60 goals for England, captained the team through 2 World Cups, and believes he's enforcing the standards that got this squad respect on the international stage. Jordan Pickford and Jordan Henderson reportedly back that view. If players can't handle pressure in training, how will they survive the tournament cauldron? On the other side, you've got the Arsenal core. Declan Rice, who moved to North London for more than £100 million, is said to be furious with Kane. He's Saka's closest ally in camp. And the younger bloc, Kobe Mainu, Anthony Gordon, Noni Madueke, aren't publicly picking sides. But privately, they're questioning whether Kane's old-school approach is destroying squad harmony rather than building it. And hold on, because the most controversial detail I've saved for the end. Because there's someone who comes out winning from all this. Jude Bellingham. If Bukayo Saka is unavailable or limited, Jude Bellingham gains complete license to drift right, to occupy that creative channel that Saka normally owns. Real Madrid's golden boy suddenly becomes the primary attacking outlet on England's right flank. Nobody's saying Bellingham wanted this, but tactically, he's the immediate beneficiary. Now the reactions. And they're tearing the camp in two. Sources close to the squad assure us the dressing room is split down generational and club lines. Declan Rice and the Arsenal contingent are reportedly furious with Harry Kane's confrontation. The senior players, including Jordan Pickford and Jordan Henderson, are defending the captain's intent, even if they admit his execution was flawed. One player allegedly told staff it felt like watching two brothers fight and that the silence after Saka collapsed was the loudest moment in camp. Thomas Tuchel held an emergency meeting with his coaching staff within an hour. One source described the mood as crisis management mode. The medical team is assessing Bukayo Saka, but no official diagnosis has been released, fueling speculation. It leaked that some staff believe it was heat exhaustion and adrenaline, but another insider claims the medical team found something more concerning that hasn't been disclosed. The FA is privately panicking. Publicly, they've said nothing. A statement is expected within the next 24 hours, but according to information going around, they're debating how much to reveal and whether releasing the security camera footage would calm the storm or make it worse. And social media exploded. Harry Kane's defenders are pointing to his leadership through two major tournaments, his goal-scoring record, his right to demand more from teammates. Bukayo Saka's supporters are citing his 20-plus goals for Arsenal this season, his composure after the Euro 2020 and 20 penalty miss, and the fact that he literally collapsed. Evidence, they say, that he was pushed beyond his limit, not that he was weak. The English press has descended on Dallas. The tabloids are already running dressing room in chaos headlines. And you, as a fan, know what this means. England's historic Achilles' heel has always been internal drama. And now it's happening again, 6 days before the tournament starts. Because the clock is ticking. England's opener is this coming Monday. FIFA rules allow roster changes for medical reasons up to 24 hours before the first match. If Bukayo Saka is ruled out, Anthony Gordon or Noni Madueke steps in. But neither replicates Saka's combination of dribbling, defensive work rate, and big game experience. Now Thomas Tuchel is caught between two bad decisions. If he backs Harry Kane publicly, he risks alienating the younger core and losing Saka's trust entirely. Potentially losing his best attacker just as the tournament begins. But if he sides with Saka or appears to undermine Kane, he fractures the leadership structure and signals that confrontation with the captain is acceptable, destabilizing the entire camp. And the consequences go beyond team selection. England's attacking balance shifts completely without Bukayo Saka. The right flank loses its primary threat. Jude Bellingham drifts wider, but that pulls him away from central areas where he's most dangerous. The tactical identity Thomas Tuchel spent months building starts to crack. Team chemistry, the one thing England has struggled with for decades, is now under a microscope. The FA brought in Tuchel to finally end the trophy drought. And now, Before a ball is even kicked, the squad is fractured. This is the kind of crisis that doesn't just affect one match. It defines a tournament. And look, this is far from over. This is the information going around so far. Over the next few hours, new details should drip out, and they could turn this whole story upside down. Medical test results, official statements, possibly even that security footage. Over to you. Was Harry Kane right to demand more from Bukayo Saka, even if his delivery was harsh? Or has his captaincy style become toxic for a new generation of England stars? Write it down below. And if you don't want to find out about the next bombshell after everyone else, subscribe and turn on notifications now. Because when this fully blows up, you'll want to be the first to know, not the last. Because what happens next could define not just England's World Cup, but the entire future of this generation. If Bukayo Saka is sidelined, if Harry Kane's authority is undermined, if Thomas Tuchel loses control of the dressing room before a single competitive minute is played, this tournament is over before it begins. And there's another layer to this that nobody's talking about yet. According to sources close to the England setup, this incident has exposed a fundamental culture clash that's been festering since Tuchel took over. The German manager brought a Chelsea mentality: elite, professional, no room for ego battles. But Harry Kane represents the old England DNA: vocal, confrontational, led by example even if it means conflict. Bukayo Saka, meanwhile, comes from Mikel Arteta's Arsenal, a club that's built around protecting young talent, managing workloads, prioritizing mental health and physical recovery. Those two philosophies were always going to collide. It just happened 6 days before the World Cup. And here's where it gets even more complicated. Because if Thomas Tuchel strips Harry Kane of any leadership responsibilities, he's essentially admitting the captain crossed a line. That sends a message to every player in that squad that confrontation has consequences. But it also risks alienating the senior bloc. Jordan Pickford, Jordan Henderson, John Stones, players who've been through multiple tournaments and know what it takes to survive the pressure. But if Tuchel does nothing, if he sweeps this under the rug and pretends it was just a training ground flare-up, Bukayo Saka and Declan Rice will see it as the manager choosing sides. And you can't win a World Cup with your two most important Arsenal players feeling betrayed. Not yet confirmed, but strong rumors suggest Thomas Tuchel has already held separate one-on-one meetings with both Harry Kane and Bukayo Saka. What was said in those rooms hasn't leaked. But the fact that he felt the need to isolate them tells you everything about how serious this has become. And the timing couldn't be worse. England's first match is Monday. The squad flies to the host city this weekend. Team selection has to be finalized. Tactics have to be locked in. And instead of focusing on the opponent, Thomas Tuchel is managing a civil war. Because this is what England does. Every tournament, without fail, there's an internal crisis that derails everything. 2010, it was the John Terry captaincy scandal. 2016, it was the Iceland collapse and the Roy Hodgson resignation. 2018, it was smoother. But even then, there were tensions between Gareth Southgate's methods and senior players who wanted more freedom. And now, 2026, it's Harry Kane versus Bukayo Saka. Old guard versus new generation, with Thomas Tuchel caught in the middle trying to hold it together. And here's the brutal reality. Even if Bukayo Saka is cleared medically, even if the tests come back clean and he's available for selection, the relationship is broken. You can't come back from a physical confrontation and a collapse in front of the entire squad. The trust is gone. The chemistry is fractured. Jude Bellingham knows it. Declan Rice knows it. Anthony Gordon and Kobbie Mainoo know it. And Harry Kane definitely knows it. This is the kind of moment that follows a team through an entire tournament. Every interview, every press conference, every tactical decision will be analyzed through the lens of this incident. Did Tuchel pick Saka to prove a point? Did he bench him to protect Kane? Is the formation different because of the rift? Every single move becomes loaded. And if England crashes out early, if they lose in the round of 16 or the quarters, this will be the reason. Not tactics, not individual errors, not bad luck. This. The moment Bukayo Saka collapsed on a training pitch in Dallas after Harry Kane grabbed his bib and the entire camp split in two. Nobody saw it coming. But now it's here. And it changes everything.